Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to start with bringing in a data set from Kaggle. Now, before we bring in the data set, I'm going to import some libraries that are often used in Python to do some data analysis. So I'll be starting with that. So I'm commenting code because it's good practice to have a sentence that helps folks understand what you're doing with your code. So bring in libraries. We've got the most important one that allows us to bring our CSV file or Excel file into a data frame in Python. That's pandas, so we're going to do import pandas as PD. And then just in case, we're going to bring in NumPy, which gives us access to do more complicated math on data frames if we need to. So import pandas as PD, import NumPy as NP. And then remember here, what we're doing is we're aliasing pandas as PD and we're aliasing NumPy as NP. So when we reference those libraries in subsequent cells, we don't have to keep writing out pandas. We can just write out PD. And same for NumPy. We don't have to write out NumPy. We can just type out NP. All right, so I'm gonna run this. So you can, in Jupyter Notebook, you can go up here, select run. You see that star, that means it's running, then that turns into a 1. It means now we've brought these libraries into our local Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so from there, I am going to declare a variable. I'm going to call it fraud df. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this variable equal to that data frame that has the information from a CSV file. So the CSV file we're going to be working with is called fraud underscore data.csv. It has fraud data. It was taken from Kaggle. If you're new to Kaggle, Kaggle.com is a great place to find free data sets to download and work with. There are also competitions hosted on there. So frauddf.csv taken from Kaggle. All right, so frauddf CSV. So we do, in order to bring in the CSV file into a Pandas data frame is, we go pd dot, so pd is referencing pandas, dot read underscore CSV, and then parentheses, we put the file path. Now my file path is specific to where this file is located on my computer. Yours might be different. So whatever your file path is, that's the one you use. Okay, so mine is in my downloads folder and then raw data.csv. All right. So once I run this cell, fraud underscore df, this variable should contain a data frame with all of the columns and rows that were in this CSV file, fraud underscore data.csv. So I'm on a Mac, and when we ran cell 1, we used run, but now if you want to more quickly run cell 2, you can still use run, but you can also on a Mac press Command Enter, and that runs the cell for you. Then let's see, it's taking a bit. Okay. And then I'm going to make a new cell. And in Jupyter, you can go to this plus button here, and that allows you to create a new cell. Now, I believe that this CSV file has been put into a Pandas data frame, which then has been assigned to this fraud underscore df variable that I declared in this cell. But I should definitely check it out. So how to do that is I'm going to do fraud underscore df dot head. Oops, okay. So fraud df, this part here, that's the variable, and then dot head, this method in Python, what it does is it returns the first 5 rows of your data frame. So return the first 5 rows of data frame. And what's our data frame? Our data frame is fraud underscore df. You'll see that the indices of a data frame actually start at 0 and go to 4. But 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 is 5 rows. That's just how data frames are indexed. You can change that if you want to. There generally isn't a need to make that change, so people don't, but just be aware that indices in a data frame start from 0, not from 1. So we see the first 5 rows of our data frame. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I just want to see how many rows and columns there are. I want to get rows and columns. So how I can do that is I can go back to my data frame prod_df and then do .shape. And that gives me back the number of rows. What's that? Over 6 million, close to 6.5 million rows of data, and then 11 columns. Okay. Now, if I want to just look at the column names that are available, then what I can do is get column names for that. Again, referencing my data frame, prod_df.columns. This gives me back the names of each of my columns. I personally don't love like this index part and this D-type object being here. So what I usually do is I just convert this part into a list by using the list command in Python and putting this part in parentheses. And it just gives me back those same columns from the data frame, but this time they look more organized and there's less information, less unnecessary information for me to process. Okay, so this is how we bring in a data frame from a CSV file into a Jupyter notebook, how we just do a very, very preliminary check, look at the first 5 rows, get the number of rows and columns, and then get the column names. All right then. We'll keep building on this in subsequent lessons.